Like last year we had a few people that were so nervous interviewing. They were like, "Oh God, this is so hard, coach." And I had a lot of we had a lot of compassion for them. But what I shared with them is, you should feel comfortable interviewing, but it takes preparation. You know, and I played basketball in high school, and I played football in college. And I remember sometimes thinking, not like Allen Iverson, of course, the basketball players, practice, no, not that. I had to think sometimes when it was all hot and you tired, and everybody else out on the beach having fun with their friends, and you practicing on that football field. Why do we have to practice so much? Yeah, the two-a-days. You remember though? You play ball? Two-a-days. You know, Texas Tech. You know, they went on check. They over there got those good teams, and you're like, why do I have to do all that? Then comes game day. You know, you polish up your pads. And, you know, helmets look good, and you put your uniform on. And you walk out, and you got all these fans screaming and hollering. You know, for my sake, my girlfriend up in the stands saying, "Go Daryl!" I say, "Yes, baby, this is my game." I was in college. And so the thing is, but then you step on that field, comes game day. Then you remember then you have the plays, and you remember your coach said, in this situation you need to do that, and in this situation you need to do that. And then I was like, okay, and you see them line up in certain configurations on the field. They say, oh, they're about to do so and so. Because you practiced and watched it week after week, and you know what they're about to do. So you can prepare for it. There's no difference when a job interview. When you practice and when you prepare, then you stand up in front of these people, and you sit or whatever, and then they start asking you questions. You're confident. But if I don't know what I'm going to say, or if I don't know how to respond, or if I don't, it makes it very difficult. But the first part of that process is just deciding what it is I want to do in the first place, career-wise, okay? And again, we also want to spend some time talking about that today. Now, before we do that, I want to go, one thing you'll find is a common thread, you'll notice in my work is giving a whipple, getting a what's in it for me, what motivates me to do what I do. So in your dream teams, I want you to do a quick exercise, okay? Oh, that walks up there. Some of y'all missed that one. I'm going to get that for you one time, so they're going to walk away on our piece. Yeah, that's pretty cool. You know, but do it in your teams. Interview each other, okay? And what you may want to do is flip papers and write their answers in their paper if you're interviewing. Take turns interviewing. Maybe one person interviews, another person interviews, another person interviews, and y'all figure it out. But like your little mini Oprahs. But what is one personal desire you have that will be fulfilled by finding the right job? This is part of that whipple process. What's in it for me? What am I trying to accomplish? I want to stay with this for just a few more minutes, and then we're going to go more into some specifics. What vacation destination would you always like to visit? One thing I always said when I was younger, because we were so in poverty when I was a child, we never got a chance to do anything. I used to always say, man, I want my children to be able to enjoy some things. You know, that was a motivation for me. That was an inspiration for me, okay? Who would you like to help personally? You may say, I want to help some of my children. I want to help my grandchildren. Somebody, my grandchildren. Yeah, that's motivation. It's just motivation. What is something that you would like to buy for yourself or family? We've never been able to do this, but man, if I get the right employment, we'll be able to do this. I'll be able to do this. And what is something special you would like to do for your kids or grandkids? Actually, that's the one for that. The other one is like, who would you like to help? Could be a friend or something. Okay, so go ahead. Just act like mini Oprahs, like you're interviewing, and just kind of ask each other those questions. You know what? Instead of writing down on their paper, let's talk about. Just have each person kind of talk about. You write down your own answers on your paper, but each person kind of discuss each one thing with each other. Thank you. And then write it down on your own papers. That way you're not passing each other's subjects I do want to discuss. That's how I wish I had more time with you. We can address some of these things a little bit more. But I do want to share a few things when we think about 21st century employment that are kind of like next level, okay? Now what I'm going to share with you right now is going to be, I'm going to probably want you to work in twos if you can. Maybe you can pull up next to somebody and they can bend there if you have room. And just kind of look this stuff over. I don't even want us to try to do any of this right now because it takes time, but the reason why I'm showing you this is next level as far as 21st century employment, networking, and connections. The first thing I'm going to show you is probably, I would think, one of the more sophisticated ways to get connected to employment probably in the world right now. And I'll share that with you in just a moment, because people are connecting in a lot of different unique ways. We'll talk about this online presence. You know, you got this big U right here. But it's important nowadays as a professional and as a job seeker, and even when you get into the workplace, to build yourself an online presence. I have one. I'm going to show you a little bit of some of mine in just a few moments. But it's at the point now we have some people who don't even submit resumes anymore. What they do is they send people to locations online to get everything that they need. It's already established. Alright? And so that online, and then what happens is this, and when you're online in certain areas, certain categories, people start finding you. You know, it's not even like you're looking anymore. I had a friend probably in the last 4 years has had 3 different jobs. And the reason why, he has that online presence, and people see it, say, we want you. And so as they kept raising the stakes for him, one person will say this, and they raise the stake, and then I told him, man, listen, you got to find one place to settle in. But he has this kind of skill sets where he's in demand, and people keep raising the stakes for him. You know, so he has this presence online, and people all over the world are finding him. Because, you know, it's not just the United States. It's Japan, it's, you know, China, it's, you know, it's everywhere. So some of you may have global aspirations, you may make connections worldwide. You never know. It can also eliminate, an online presence can provide a significant boost in your job search process. It is extremely professional. Because when you now tell an employer, take a look at my LinkedIn profile, man, that's a whole nother level. They're like, wow, you know. And so, for some, they might not even know what a LinkedIn profile is. But if they do, they're going to be impressed. They're going to say, man, you're thinking at another level. And then, lastly, it can also, now on the other side, the bad side of this is, it can also eliminate your chances of employment if inappropriate. So I tell people all the time, like when it comes to things like Facebook, anybody have a Facebook account in here? Anybody have a Facebook account, just a few? If you don't, the thing about Facebook I found that's so important is make sure you put good stuff on Facebook. Because if you do have a Facebook profile and you're putting up negative stuff, guess who's going to go look at that profile? People that interview you. There's all kind of articles out here right now about companies that have decided not to hire people because of what they saw on their Facebook profile. You know, because some people bash folks on Facebook and say negative things on Facebook and think that only their friends see it. But no, once you put it out there on the internet, the superhighway, a whole lot of people can see it. You know, so